We're out of ice. I work as a cashier in a large chain grocery store. We also sell ice, located in a large freezer near the front of the store next to the registers. It was slowing down in the store, and I had some return items at my till that needed to go back. We can either bring the items to customer service and they will return them to shelf, or we can go return them directly. The item was located in a nearby aisle, so I decided to return it directly. Our large ice cooler is located at the end of this aisle, which is next to the registers. As we have been having a heat wave lately, our ice was sold out again today. As I turn up the aisle and pass the ice cooler, I hear a woman close the cooler door and comment out loud, "Oh, there's no more ice." I continue walking, return the item to shelf, and as I turn around, the woman is standing directly behind me, blocking my way out of the aisle and glaring daggers directly into my eyes. "Me cashier, see customer." "I see, did you just ignore me?" "Me pardon, did you need help with something?" "I see, did you ignore me?" "Me, no, not intentionally. I was returning an item to the shelf. Sorry you had the impression I was ignoring you." "I see, there's no more ice in the cooler." "Yes, we're all sold out of ice." Silence. She looks at me with a blank look and does not say anything else for seconds, seemingly unhappy with my answer. "Me, we don't have any more ice. We are sold out." "I see, well, where am I supposed to get my ice from?" "Me, you could try gas station across the street. They usually have some." More silence, still glaring at me. "I see, I came here to buy ice." "Me, we do not have any ice in stock at this time." "I see," waves her hand at me and turns to leave. "Don't be so rude." I really didn't think I sounded rude, and I was genuinely confused when she came up to me asking if I ignored her. She didn't address me directly at all before she confronted me. "No, hey, excuse me," to get my attention. Although I did hear her say, "There's no more ice," it sounded more like an observation out loud rather than asking an employee if there was more somewhere.
I had a literal brawl break out at the store today. It's a bit of a story, but bear with me. There was a woman, who I'll call Customer A, that was trying to use self-checkout. She didn't have enough money on her card, so the purchase was declined. This frustrated her and she started screaming. First at me for some reason, then she started screaming at her son to put back his drink. He started crying and she started screaming more and threatening him. Another woman, Customer B, saw this and ran over to intervene. She started screaming at A not to scream at the kid and how she was humiliating him. Argued back and forth for a bit before A stormed out of the store. We got back in line. I checked her out and thought that was the end of it. Not too long later, I hear a lot of noise from just outside, followed by loud screaming and crying. I run up to investigate and find A on the ground screaming, with her kids also crying loudly next to her. Apparently Customer B came outside and just started waiting on her. She punched A in the head multiple times, pushed her into the public trash can, which was knocked over, and slammed her head into the wall. Judged from the giant bruise on her face, I had no reason not to believe her. Cops and ambulance were called, apparently as seizures, and was worried the beating might set them off. While reviewing what footage we had of the incident later, we do have B on camera punching A in the back of the head at least once. Another customer got her license plate and we gave that to the cops. Hopefully they can find the attacker.
After, he won't refund me cash for my gas from my gas station days in 2013. About a year into working there, my station joined in several others to switch over to prepay-only pumps. I personally would see drive-offs a few times every time I worked, so I was happy to see the change. Customers, however, resisted the change as much as they could, from threatening to not get gas here anymore to get me to turn on the pump for them, because our system still allowed it for semi-truck drivers that use special cards to pay. One day, a lady I'd never seen before, our Karen, pulls up to the pump and grabs the nozzle, expecting me to turn on the pump for her. I announce over the speakers the same speech I've been giving everyone that won't read the prepay signs on the pumps, and continue to wait on other customers in my line. She ignores me at first, but hangs up the nozzle after a minute and makes her way into the store. I finish the customer between her and me, and she starts in at me about not letting her get gas outside. I politely tell her we're a prepay-only store now, and she'll have to put money into a pump before getting her gas. She seems confused at first, but we get through the transaction with her putting in $30 unleaded onto a debit card, and she heads out to pump her fuel. She doesn't put the whole $30 into her vehicle and heads back in to speak to me. After I get the customers in between me and her, she wants the cash for the fuel she didn't use. Let my bad for forgetting to tell her gas prepays on any card are automatically refunded once the nozzle is hung back up onto the pump. I tell her this, and I have no way to give her cash back from the transaction. Mentioning it may take a day for the refund to appear on her bank statement. She gets mad, demanding I give her cash for the fuel. I repeat myself, apologizing for the misunderstanding, and say she still has the money, it's just on her card. She leaves the store, and I think I am done with her. Nope. I continue on my work in between helping customers in the store for several minutes, and I look outside. A cop has pulled up to Karen's car, and she's talking to him, occasionally pointing at the store, and I already see the headache coming. I tell my co-worker to run register as the cop comes in and he asks to speak to me. I greet him and ask what he needs. He informs me that Karen called the cops, saying we were refusing to give her her money back for the fuel while being really rude to her. I tell him what happened, how refunds for gas work, and if he wishes, he can come back with me to the cameras to watch the footage. He says that's okay, and he'll inform her of what actually happened. I don't see the cop and lady talk as a rush hits the store then, but one of my regulars saying that lady flipped me off after she got into her car so the cop wouldn't see her do it.
Ma'am, this is an express lane. Take your $300 order elsewhere. For some background, this happened yesterday. I'm a teenage cashier working at a regional, privately owned grocery store, and this is about my 5th week working here. I'm still kind of learning the ropes, but mostly everything is down pat. So, yesterday, I got to work for a 4.5-hour shift. Not that bad. And hey, my supervisors tell me I get to be on an express lane. Hooray. The one that I'm on is specifically 15 items or less, and that express lane sign is turned on with a separate switch from the one that turns on the sign for the number of my register. So, for the first half of my shift, I'm doing just fine. Then I get to go on a 15-minute break. When I get back, I sign back into my till, put back on my light, but when my next customer comes, she has a cart with what looks like 30-ish items. I ask her, hey there, is that 15 items or less? She looks pretty bewildered and says, oh, I didn't think that this was. Then I see that my express light isn't on. Oops, my mistake. I tell her as such, apologize, and ring her up anyways. Right after I turn my express light back on, however, my next customer and her daughter come into line behind customer one and have a full cart with what must have been $300 worth of groceries. I ask her if she has 15 items or less, and she clearly doesn't, but she doesn't respond. After I finish with customer one, the customer with the large order comes up, starts putting stuff on the belt, and as much as I try to explain things to her, she doesn't seem to want to listen. I know she knows the language, however, as her and her daughter are chatting it up constantly. So here I am, cashier in the express lane, ringing up a $300 order for a customer who seemingly doesn't care, and who is holding up for customers who actually deserve the line behind her. When I finally finish her transaction, I tell her her total, and she pulls out a checkbook. We never get checks anymore. Total waste of our customers' time. Leaves without saying a word to me. I try to apologize vehemently to the customers she held up, and luckily they understood. Still, I guess this is what retail is like.
Check out my other splendid videos.